What if Russia invaded the US during the election? Do you ever imagine what would happen if the two superpowers in the world would wage war against each other? Would one of them win, or will it be another defeat of humanity? Well, such questions have been raised after the conflict of Russia with the US during the Ukraine war. People are now wondering if it's possible for Russia to someday attack the US, and it's a legit question. Well, we all know that if it happens, it's gonna be disastrous for both the nations, but is anyone gonna win? Make sure to watch this video till the very end to find it all out. Now that the relationship between Russia and the USA is down in the dumps yet again, there have been talks that someday Russia might even decide to attack the US. And that sounds pretty far-fetched, but considering the relations between the two countries, it might be a possibility in the near future. Recently, the security forces in the US also declared Russia as a major threat to the US, but it wouldn't even be the first attack of Russia on the US. They would first start doing cyber attacks in the form of spreading misinformation, leaking state information through hacking, and getting into the banking systems of the US. Then the US would very likely focus on these issues, while Russia would start preparing its troops for the attack. If the US timely understands the strategy by the Russian government, they would seek help from countries like Italy, England, and Germany's Air Force, because that's going to be crucial. The first thing Russia would do is use its manpower and send troops into the territory of the United States of America. This would be the official declaration of war by Russia's side. And do you know that the US has recently decreased its manpower and they're working on development of newer technology to tackle enemies like Russia? So even if Russia uses all its manpower, the US might still have the upper hand, as we already saw in World War I and II that the country advancing in technology won every single time. Plus, if we consider the fact that both the countries are nuclear powers, things start getting a little scary. Initially, America would need air power and lots of it so that they could control the Russian army from the air as their planes start landing on US soil. They would have to act swiftly before the Russian attackers get any chance to settle down. But we can't underestimate the air combat capabilities of the Russian army, and that's why, according to experts, the US would need more than just high morale to overpower Russia in the air. Italy and Germany would be helping the US by attacking Russian war fronts from the air. These air-to-air fights are going to be very disastrous and dangerous, but also very important if US plans on winning World War III. Even if Germany and Italy don't help the US for some reason, there still are little chances that Russia would be able to completely invade US territory. That's because there's a vast ocean on both sides of America, so they would have to find a reasonable route to attack America and steer clear of American satellites and sonar systems. It does sound impossible, but Russia also is great at technology, so we better not underestimate them. Even if the Russians somehow get past the US Navy force, they would be facing yet another problem in the name of the US Air Force. But apart from all this, don't forget that the US also has some pretty cool and advanced gadgets that could blow their ships up pretty quick. Plus, the US never hesitated while using nuclear weapons when it came to protecting their country, so why would they hesitate now, especially when the Russian army is still in the waters, thousands of miles away from the population? They actually are most likely to use their nuclear weapons because this way, there would be no harm to their civilian population. Even if the Russian armies makes it to the cities of the US, do you think they would survive? Most people in the US have their very own guns, and a lot of them would be willing to defend their homeland. So even if the Russian army manages to fight with US armed forces, it won't survive millions of civilians. Even if we think about it logically, Russia can't win a war with the US because of the distance and the ocean in the middle. They would never be able to take advantage of their real potential because the US is thousands of miles apart. Germany also lost its war with Britain because of the distance, but in Russia's case, the distance is quite a lot. So the only chance Russia has to attack the US with its complete potential is to set up their own base in Canada and Mexico. It's very unlikely for Russia to win a war against the US through land, and they know it by now. That's why it's very much possible that they start a cyber war and hack into our credit cards, marketplaces, and bank accounts. They would most likely attack the banks to affect the US economy, but do you think they would succeed in it? Tell us in the comments section. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, adios from our side.